Hello and welcome to episode 289 of Checkpoint Chat. My name is Alessandro Barbosa. I'm joined by Matthew Figuera.
I'm recording video this time, but I realized I had not push start on my stopwatch, which I just did, which is an admin thing, not a.
It's what happens when you don't record for. You
so
don't
long.
record for what? It's been 3 weeks, I think. 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
I think we're like in a 3-week, 4-week.
Yeah, I found out this week, which it's weird that I only found this out this week because I listened to the podcast for quite some time. But it's a podcast with 3 former I guess one is still a games journalist, but 3 former ones called Fire Escape Chat or Fire Escape. It's with Mike Mahadi, who is actually the guy who helped me get a job at GameSpot all them years
Very
back.
Nice.
Mary Kish, who's former GameSpot, she now works at Twitch, and Dan Reichert, who's co-owner of Giant Bomb. And really chill podcast. Yeah, Dan Reichert. Really chill podcast because they sometimes just get drunk and talk stuff. Their like Game of the Year stuff is really fun. But they also only record every 2 weeks because obviously they all have like day jobs. And I was like, you know what? There's dozens of us. Dozens.
There's a trend here. Okay, so they do every 2 weeks. We do every 3 weeks. Someone's going to do it every 4 weeks. And we're going to keep going until there's a 1-a-year special.
I do follow another podcast, which is called Law Dump, which is all about I love this podcast. It's like a comedic take on people explaining like the story of games to people who haven't played them. And they're from the UK or Scotland. And they seemingly record like a bunch of these in one weekend and then release them like once a month. It's really, really fun. They're currently going through Ghost of Tsushima, but their series on BioShock is real fun. The Batman ones are real fun. The main host, Monty Zander, he does like critical essays on YouTube, which are really, really good. But then this is more like it's just comedy because they just talk shit and go through the game, and it highly recommend because they're all like 4 or 5 hours each because it's like a lot. So I listen throughout the week and highly recommend them if anyone's looking for something different, not just like weekly gaming news. It's like just fun shit. Yeah,
what is good time. My Windows is like your Xbox controller has disconnected. Your Xbox controller has connected. I'm like, what do you mean? Like I haven't touched anything. Like what's going on here?
I'm busy controlling my mouse on my desktop with my Steam controller, which is really, really fun.
Controlling with my eyes through my webcam.
That would be pretty sick, actually. There's games that do that.
Yeah.
Why not mice? That would be
come on.
Cool.
What's going on here?
It's been a while since we've chatted.
It's a great.
I spent a good portion of this week watching some SGDQ because it's summer in the States. Let me tell you, some good runs out there.
I watched not a single run. You told me you did the good friend thing of reminding me on the Monday. By the way, it's games done quick, summer, cool going. I love putting it on the background.
That's exactly how I watch.
It just out of heard the news that day and then just gone. Now it's Sunday. I can never watch it.
But you've got all these the VODs because they put them all up. Some good runs. There was a 4-way Elden Ring race, which was really, really cool. The one I watched last night, which was probably my favorite run in a long time, was a Balatro run where
I saw a clip of that.
Where they were trying to get to like they were trying to get to that number that breaks the game, NANF, which is just like the number. They can't hold that number, but it was an hour-long run because firstly, it was unseeded. So it wasn't like they were showcasing a seeded run. The only thing they did was mod it so that they got a certain rare joker at the start, because without that, it's almost impossible.
I was going to say, it's how do you even
this run was incredible. It went through peaks and valleys because they knew what they needed to get going, and they were just getting super unlucky. Then they got lucky and got the thing that they needed, and the build like kicked off. And then they just went through a period where they had to, at some point, they had to use what is it? I think it's an invisible Joker to like duplicate another Joker that they really needed.
It's like
and they
a
were
blueprint Joker or something.
Yeah, blueprint Joker.
Yeah.
And they needed like they have like 6 Jokers that are all required for the run, and they're like, we ideally want to duplicate 5 of these. The one that is the 6th one is not terrible, but it really won't help us, especially in this scenario. And it fucking duplicated that one. And there's this entire groan in the audience, just like, no. And they're like 40 minutes into this run, and the dude running it is like, should we restart? Should we? And they're thinking about it, and they're like, fuck it, let's just go. And they eventually get to the end. I'm sure that's the clip you saw, and it's so good. That whole run is just stress from start to finish, because they like on the edge of this run breaking down, and they just get there. It's phenomenal.
But now, explain to me, the layman person. So if you so they start. What is the rare Joker they start with, out of interest?
It's called Pikiro, I think it is. So the whole thesis of their run is sort of like it's a high card run.
Yeah.
But they are working. He like stacks his deck just with kings with red seals.
Okay.
And the goal is to stack up these spectral cards till he gets like 52 of them. And what the spectral card does is take a card in your hand and duplicates it and puts it in your hand.
Okay.
And he needs this Joker called Pikiro because it generates these spectral cards every single hand you play, or every single round you play.
Yeah.
But at certain points in the run, because his score wasn't keeping up with the antes, he got to ante 12. Yeah, like it. So he needed to burn some of these spectral cards just to keep up. But he was explaining like that puts you in a sort of death spiral, because now your economy of generating these things is going down.
Worse,
yeah. So that's where it was like peaks and valleys. And eventually, right at the end of the run, the way he breaks the game is he burns all of those spectral cards, and he has like 56 or 58 of these kings in his hand. And that obviously plays with the other Jokers, and it just builds this like impossibly big score. It like I think it took like several minutes for it to even just process the entire hand. It was so cool, so cool.
That's
like,
amazing.
If you're gonna watch one run from GDQ,
I'd want to watch it, just because playing Balatro as many hours as I have, there's still so much of that game I haven't discovered or figured out, whatever. And there's so many mechanics that I would never just understand or think of out of the box. But just from what you've described, saying, they need to work towards getting the 6 cards, and trying to wrap my head around, okay, does that mean you just play and then you try to generate money and this and that, and you just reshuffle the shop until you get you keep reshuffling till you get the Joker? Wow.
That's exactly what he was doing. Like he's like the make or break thing in this run is just building economy. Like he was making hundreds of dollars every round, and that was allowing him to shuffle the shop. But he got to a point where the Joker he needed was just not popping up like at all.
That's so funny.
Yeah, what essentially saved him at the end was actually a boss ante. They were like, wait a minute, we've cycled through every single boss. The next boss will be this one, and this one actually helps us because it helps us generate certain cards, because it forces you to play a certain number of hands or something like that. It was like on that knife edge. They were just like, because this is appearing now, this made this entire thing possible. It was just sheer luck that it happened that way. So cool.
But even that, I have to believe the dev of the game, I imagine, super switched on, super smart to think up the game, and think of these different interactions, and obviously to hard code that some people are gonna get numbers that break the game, sort of thing. These exponential numbers. But you wonder if they thought this far that there's going to be speedrunners or people out there who will figure out how. I mean, I suppose it happens with every game. You can never foresee how gamers will break your game open. But I wonder if this dev even like fathomed this level of bullshittery of, we're going to do this, but this is how we're going to get these cards to work with each other. And it's just amazing when you have a collective force working towards something.
I think as someone designing games, you just can't think of every single possible way a play. That's why IGN used to have the series. I don't know if they do anymore, but they used to get devs on like a couch to react to speedruns. And
amazing.
Just them going, oh my God, I didn't realize you could do this way or break the game in this way. And it's just so cool because they they're essentially rule setters, and players are the ones that look at these rules and just go, how can we bend these in ways that they were never meant to be bent? The Bellatra one is a good example of that. And then at the end, they showcased like, oh, what if you took a seeded run? Can we replicate the world record? And I think they got to like the broken number within like 5 minutes, like within anti 5, which is crazy. It's a cool display of what that game is like for people who are super into math and just like they know all these permutations and they played the game enough. I think On the Couch was one of the biggest like Bellatra streamers. I think if you see him, you'll recognize him because I've seen him in so many like Instagram shorts and stuff. And his just sheer knowledge of like, oh, this card, oh, that card. They shuffle the store so quickly because as soon as the 4-3 cards pop up, they know exactly what each one does. And they're just like, nope, yes, nope, yes. It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll watch that run. It sounds good.
Yeah, it's a good time. I mean, GDQ is just a really fun time. And they seem to be having more and more weird speed runs. Like anyone can sort of speed run a game, it just in a standard way. Now they've got a lot of like gimmicks. Like I think someone did Resident Evil 4 remake with a Guitar Hero controller. Bullshit like that. It's a good time.
Gamers.
Yeah, gamers. 100%. There's a Hollow Knight Silksong run that I haven't watched because I don't know if they do Act 3 stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure they would.
So I was just like, I don't want to spoil that because I still want to get back to that. But I think they did it in an hour 40 or something like that. I'm sure you'll get some enjoyment out of seeing that happen.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, a game like that is also so interesting to watch because it's a Metroidvania and someone's going to figure out how to skip a whole part of the game, but then seeing it come together like, oh yeah, I skip this part and I fight this boss and I fast track to this area and I get this thing I need, and it's just amazing to watch how people have problems
they like
solved.
break the sequence of abilities being granted to you, and that like breaks the game. Yeah, like Symphony of the Night is a run that's always shown at GDQ, and it does the same thing. They're just like sequence breaker to hell. It's a lot of fun. It's a good time.
Speedrunning. It's a good time.
Speedrunning, yeah. I have mad respect for those people because just learning a game to that degree and then being able to pull it off is just an immense skill. I think, and it just seems like a very wholesome community. Everyone's there to kind of help one another. Yeah, it's cool.
Nice.
Speaking of speedrunning, or I guess games, video games, we talk about them here. Check my,
what have you been speedrunning, Arch?
It's late on a Sunday. I can only speedrun my brain so much with so little sleep. I'm speedrunning Exhaustion at the moment.
I know.
Got a bunch of games to talk about, a bunch of new releases over the past couple of weeks. I think the biggest one since we last spoke was Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. No colons in that entire name. Just insane. You have never played Assassin's Creed for Black Flag. You have never played any of these classic Assassin's Creeds. Most of them have been RPGs. So I'm curious to know how you enjoyed this. What is widely considered one of the best in the series. Now just looking good, spick and span.
Well, yeah, let me give some context and say, as you've already pointed out, which is baffling. My first Assassin's Creed was Valhalla. Now, for those of you keeping count,
crazy.
Valhalla is nowhere near the beginning of the Assassin's Creed franchise. It comes after so many before, like the original trilogy.
It's like the 8th or 9th
and
one.
And there's Rogue and Black Flag, and then there's Origins and Odyssey and Unity. Like there's a ton, and then Valhalla was the one is like, right, let's play this. And I played Valhalla and I was like, there's an open world RPG, it's fine, but I just don't get the Assassin's Creed love. Like a game is just way too long.
It's also like the worst one in the series, probably.
Yeah, just super long. Just I enjoy. I don't want to say I didn't enjoy it, but it's just way too long. Played Mirage was a lot better because I think that kind of blended, more of the RPG, modern RPG with some of the more classic feel, but it's shorter game, but still, it's okay. Shadows was cool, like I enjoyed it, but again, it's the modern RPG Assassin's Creed, and it just like I couldn't understand like why fans like yourself, for example, were sort of a bit just like it's not the original Assassin's Creed. It's this modern RPG. There's all these numbers you got to not grind levels, but you got to level up and have gear and whatever. So come to Black Flag, which is now probably I'd say one of the most beloved games in the franchise. Like even I know people talk about Black Flag with such love and reverence of what a game, whatever. And having played it now, I've rolled credits. It took me, I was saying to you before we started recording, I didn't speedrun the game. I did some side stuff, but I just kind of stuck to the main quest so I could see the story to the end. It's like 22, 23 hours. It's not a short game. It's still a lot of playtime, but there's a ton to do here if you do want to, stretch your sails. This game is not an Assassin's Creed. Okay, this is a pirate game wearing an Assassin's Creed skin.
100%. Yeah.
As far as pirate games go, it is a very, very good pirate game, and I understand why people love this game so much because I had an absolute blast playing it. If you dream of sailing the high seas and just causing havoc, popping to different islands and just looting, hunting for treasure, doing all manner of that sort of thing, this is the simulator. And it's funny because I think you mentioned it as well. Like Ubisoft followed this with Skull and Bones, which is just Skull and Bones. Like no one talks about that game. Like this seems to be the benchmark. And I just thoroughly enjoyed it. As far as the remake goes, it's kind of mind blowing that this game came out on PS3. If I think of, so if you don't know, in terms of remake, the game has been remade in the modern day Assassin's Creed engine, which is Anvil, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
It's Anvil. So it's visually like gorgeous. If you're watching the footage, it's like amazing. The seas are good. The islands are lush and beautiful. Parkour's been updated to the more modern feel. And in terms of campaign, it still follows the same story. And there's I think, post-game content, and there's been a couple of refinements and things that have happened. But the actual just fundamental mechanics of this game, of how you sail, how it's structured, that was how it was in the PS3. And holy hell, this game was I'd say way ahead of its time. As an open world game, I can't even fathom this being on a PS3, which was a very powerful console, don't get me wrong. But it's just such a disconnect in my head of how did this exist on a PS3 when it's just these huge open seas with these islands and this big story, whatever. It's just very good. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is kind of, you're right. Like this was it was a late, I think it was one of those like late PS3, came out on PS4.
Yeah, towards the end of the PS3
console launch. Right. Yeah. But just the ambition of this game, like you said, the scale of it, being able to sail between islands and have big naval battles at sea. It was just, compared to Assassin's Creed 3, which had these naval sections, but they were completely separate from you, like on land when you were playing as Connor. It was almost like this is a cinematic event where you get on a boat, you do a thing, and then you dock again, and then you don't get on a boat for a very long time. And they were just kind of like, what if we made that seamless, which is a nuts thing to do in like a year between sequels, because these things were coming out almost annually at that point. It is such a cool game, which, if you've only played it for the first time now, you would think it would just fit with the modern framework of an open world game, because it is kind of still 100%, within that vein. Yeah. It's good. Yeah, I've only played a couple of hours. I played Black Flag when it came out. I still consider it maybe like my second favorite in the series, but that's just because I enjoy Ezio's stuff. It's probably the best feeling of the classic Assassin's Creed games, and I think this remake does a good job of replicating that while, like you said, smoothing some of the edges to make it feel a bit more modern, running in that engine, making parkour feel a bit different and a bit more forgiving. And, changing the combat slightly, but I still feel like it does lean into that old style where you're waiting for parries, and then once you hit a parry, it's just like an immediate kill, which I know people got super, super over by the end of that era of Assassin's Creed, and that's why I think the RPG stuff felt very different.
Yeah.
But I've always liked it. I think it's a real power fantasy trip, which just makes you feel like this, assassin who cannot really be stopped by normal soldiers. And again, like, Edward Conway is not an assassin. Like, he kind of just lucks himself into picking up this garb, and he's just looking for treasure, and he's kind of an asshole, and he's just the most anti-hero sort of rugged protagonist that doesn't fit in with all the others that have come before him. He has no moral code. He kind of doesn't really care for the journey he's on, and it's refreshing because he's not just this goody two-shoes coming from Connor and Ezio. So it really was a different take on the story. And, some, like you said, some people don't consider it an Assassin's Creed, and that's fine. It's just a really fun open world game. And it's cool that we can play it in the modern age in this sort of way.
Yeah, look, it's not like a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination. There are some things I don't like about it. But one of them being, I appreciate the anti-hero story, but I found maybe just a relic of, that generation of gaming where, I mean, this is a mild spoiler. In the first hour, Edward is just a pirate. He's doing his thing, and then he stumbles across an assassin who's actually out to betray the brotherhood, whatever, and hand over information to the Templars. But then Edward ends up with these Templars, and they're like, "Oh, yes, you're an assassin. Show us your assassin things, whatever." And that serves as kind of a tutorial for the game. But narratively, it makes no sense. Like, Edward's this pirate, like, "Oh, yeah, show us your assassin techniques," and this dude's already archer leaping off buildings into hay. He knows how to use it. They literally hand him the blades, like, "Oh yeah, show." So he knows how to use him. He leaps off buildings, he assassinates, whatever. And I'm like, it just narratively, it's just weird. Like, you just have to close your eyes and pretend it didn't happen. Maybe it is a relic of that time of storytelling in gaming. I don't know.
It's also such a janky little section. It's just
you
you sit against a wall and you assassinate a dude around a corner, and they're like, "Masterful, man."
But it's just so funny. I'm like, this dude's never been an assassin. It's more just the fact that there's one part that, like, "Oh yes, like, shows how you assassinate off a rooftop," and he does it perfectly. I'm like, this dude's a pirate.
It's also just the most unimpressive shit to be like, "Show us your skills."
But it's just this weird suspension of disbelief. Where, and I know it's a game. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's just weird how this dude is just kind of born knowing how to parkour, like he's doing. You can do this from
100%.
minute one. And I don't know, I just kind of feel that from a narrative point of view, it's just a bit of a weird, surely there needs to be some kind of explanation as to why this dude's such a good assassin. Like, I don't know.
I do think, again, this comes down to you not having played the series, but this, I feel like at the time, was a massive overcorrection. Assassin's Creed 3 was notoriously bad with doling this stuff out. I think
handhold too much.
I despise Assassin's Creed 3 because it feels like you have to play that game for 6 to 8 hours before you kind of let loose on the world. And, a lot of it is so tutorial, like, oh, you're going through the prologue to the game, and then Connor's like this untrained assassin. You even play as him as a kid, where you're like playing hide and seek, and that's meant to teach you stuff. It's so drawn out. And I think they were just like, fuck that. We're putting you straight into the action. Again, maybe at the expense of the narrative, like you said, but I think they were just like over the criticism of it taking way too long. Because the Ezio games were the same thing. They were very story heavy in the beginning to kind of teach Ezio his things. And here they're like, who cares? He's an assassin from the get-go. Let's just get you into the cool stuff.
It's me nitpicking. The game's really good, but there are just random things like that where it just makes me roll my eyes a bit. What is going on here?
I just thought it was really funny the way they were just glazing him up for doing absolute nonsense. It's just so fun. They're like, yes, we can see you have assassin training.
Yeah, like this dude.
One of the skills is you sprinting up and just stabbing a dude. It's like, what? Anyone could do that.
Masterful. That's why Edward could do it, because anyone could do it. They're like, oh wow, this ancient technique. That said, last thing I'll say about the story, I think one of the biggest changes they made in this remake is that there's, like, I know in the original Assassin's Creed, there's this whole there's a whole secondary story, or I don't know how you want to frame it. There's like a primary story and a secondary story. And the primary story or secondary story is typically what you're playing through, and then there's a modern day thing happening, saying like, modern day, there's assassins versus Templars and da-da-da. That whole part of that game from the original has just been removed. I think the original had this whole separate thing where you playing modern day, was it first person through?
Yeah, you were playing as like a game tester working at Abstergo, and they were developing games that
modern day
were
Templars.
basically exactly, yeah, and you were kind of like testing this game that was about this rogue assassin during this period, and that kind of then starts going into like someone hacks your computer and they're trying to tell you that these are Templars and they're bad people. But it was, again, this was straight after the whole Desmond Miles story concluded in Assassin's Creed 3, so they were just trying something new for the modern day section. So I don't personally think some people seem very mad that they took that out. I don't particularly recall caring much for it. And if you are super into the lore for this game, you can read up people's thoughts on it and how the modern section flashbacks in this game actually act as a sequel to Assassin's Creed Shadows more than anything else, which is an interesting thing. I think Jordan Ramey on GameSpot, his review kind of dives into that because he's a Assassin's Creed lore sicko. So if you're into that, I think that kind of ties it in, but I genuinely don't feel you're missing out on much. But with that stuff removed.
It's weird because like I can't tell you I'm missing it. I think if you wanted that story's there's a whole lot of things you can go hunt out, and there's a lot of lore dumps you can find out in the world, like codex entries, whatever. But I also found, the last thing I'll say about the story is that it's a bit, even the whole Templar versus Assassin thing in this specific story feels a bit kind of glazed over, because Edward's like, I've stumbled onto the secret war between these two, but it kind of feels like, what are the stakes really? They're after this big device thing, the observatory, and he's just a dude there who wants it for money. And it just feels, I don't know, it just feels maybe in this remake, because there's no modern day stakes to like show, this is what's happening. Maybe it's just a bit over my head, and I only know about it because I went and I read up after the fact, like, this is what actually happened in the original. And this remake is kind of erasing that part of the game and kind of, like you said, course correcting or putting it more with the modern series of games, which is kind of charting a new path in that storyline. So I don't know. All you need to know though is if you want a good pirate game in an Assassin's Creed skin, this is a game to play. It's a lot of fun.
It's kind of interesting because there are very few, if any, games like this. Even at the time, it wasn't like, the industry went through a pirate period. Like, so many games go through these weird convergences all at the same time. This is kind of an outlier, and there is nothing like it, in my opinion.
I mean, there are pirate games, cool to play but again. It's
not like this.
Not like this, no.
Like where it is just an open world game and you are living a very cool, very power fancy like pirate simulation. In the same way that you don't get many like cowboy games aside from Red Dead Redemption 2, of that ilk. So
damn, I wish there would have more cowboy games.
This could not be further from that sort of game in terms of realism and simulation, which I highly appreciate. It's a good time. It's a really good. I'm keen to play a bunch more.
Yeah, I think even if you've not really had much to do with Assassin's Creed, I mean, I've played, like I said, the modern ones. This is easily my favorites. The others I played through and I enjoyed them. Like I said, I enjoyed them, but this is the one I was like, holy shit, like I'm really enjoying this game. I can't wait to finish work to go play more. Even if it's just sailing the seas and fighting other ships to get resources to upgrade my ship, or popping to an island I'm sailing past to find treasure. It was just fun to play through. And visually, like, what a treat. This game is just like gorgeous.
Yeah. It makes me excited for the next Assassin's Creed, which is called, I don't think they've given it a name, but it's like codename Hexy or something like that. And it's meant to be, they're apparently flip-flopping between, 1 year or it's like RPG and then non-RPG, similar to like Mirage and then Shadows.
Kind of like Resident Evil as well, what Capcom are doing there.
Yes. So this one's apparently meant to be more of the classic style, but it's also introducing like more supernatural elements to it. I'm keen to see what it is. It sounds really interesting and cool because I don't super vibe with the RPG ones. I think Origins I kind of love, even though those RPG elements are quite light. I just think the setting and the story is really good. But like Odyssey and Valhalla didn't grab me. Shadows was cool for a bit, and then I kind of fell off of that as well.
Look, if you are the fan who enjoys the RPG version of Assassin's Creed and you want the numbers, like this game might not hit for you. But for someone like me, just going into this game and being able to fight anyone I see without worrying about not the right level, just this power fantasy of I can walk into an enemy camp and if there's 20 enemies, I'm still gonna maybe struggle, but it's not a raw number thing. It's like, no, I can get out of this. I can fight all these dudes. I can just
I guess you can understand now why it was such a big like turn off for some people to not have the ability to like stealth assassinate people because of a number.
It makes no sense to
always
me.
rubbed me the wrong way.
Even narratively, it's this. I'll give the same criticism to games like The Division, and I know like I'm completely nitpicking. The Division's like using guns, but if you shoot a dude in the head, it's going to do more damage, but it's not going to kill them. I'm like, but The Division's meant to be like not a real life simulator, but in my head, I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. It's a headshot. Like, it's just a raw
games like
numbers
Destiny
thing.
get away with it just because it's not real.
Yeah.
But when you like giving, you're in a world where it's like very militaristic and realism is at the core of its look, then you're right. It just feels odd.
I'll give you the perfect comparison. Here in this game, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, it's like, oh, there's the captain of this army. You can sneak up to them and kill them. If they don't see you, you can one-hit kill them, no problem. In Shadows, it was a thing of, if you want to assassinate that elite person, you got to go find it on your skill tree and work towards that perk of you can insta-kill. And it's like come on.
And even that was a correction to a degree because, Origins and Odyssey never allowed that. It was like, you're too low level to assassinate this dude. Like, fucking good luck, Again, that's why when Origins came out and it was like, nope, insta assassinations are no longer a thing. It's like, oof, I don't know about this direction at all anymore. So I'm glad you get to experience that. And I'm also curious now if you can see why Ghost of Tsushima was such a big thing, because it was a return to the sort of formula that people had been...
No levels, really.
Yeah, it had been 5 years since Assassin's Creed had kind of like done this stuff. And it was like, yep, this feels like the Assassin's Creed of old. And, the series went in a direction that a lot of people didn't like. And I think primarily that's why Tsushima was such a big success. It also happened to be a setting that everyone had been clamoring for in Assassin's Creed and they just hadn't done it as well. So it was like this perfect convergence of two things.
Yeah.
It's a good time. I think you owe it to yourself to play some of the ones that came after Black Flag. Like Unity is really, really good.
You've got me interested in Unity. Even if I don't finish it, I'll sort of try it. It's like, well, what is this?
It's cool now that they cleaned up the performance issues and they issued a patch recently to unlock the frame rate on current consoles. Nice. So now it's like 60 frames per second on the current consoles. And then after that, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which takes place in London, is I think it's super underrated. It's really, really good.
Nice.
Yeah, those two are the last two before the like RPG era, and I think they, Black Flag is up there, but those two are not far behind, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay, we'll end this segment there. Boom. Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Go play it. I've got a quick story. Do you remember I was with you. It must have been at Gamescom or E3. I can't remember which one. But or maybe it wasn't with you, but it pointed us on one of these trips, and you know how the previews worked at those events. Like you either saw behind closed door footage or you got to play a game for like 10, 20 minutes. You wrote a preview on it. Okay.
Yeah.
I previewed, which is the one set in London, Syndicate.
Syndicate, yeah.
Okay, and the gameplay segment they had is like you got to infiltrate the Tower of London. This is a guy who's never played Assassin's Creed, previewing Assassin's Creed, okay? This is a guy who does not know that there's a hold parkour button to like run and jump and parkour. I'm the dude who's like, okay, I want to run and jump over this wall. Like, what's the jump button? I'm pushing, like, jump's not happening. I just remember the person manning the booth, like, no, you need to hold this button. I was like, oh, yes. Like, thank you. I forgot. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
This guy to preview this game. What the fuck are they doing?
I have no idea what I'm doing. But it's just because Assassin's Creeds are built that way. Of like, there's like an auto parkour, whatever button. It's not this traditional platforming, whatever. So just sitting there going like, I have no idea what I'm doing. This dude is judging me so hard, watching me just struggle, this infiltration.
It must have been a Gamescom because I remember previewing it like at the same place or I previewed it at E3 and then you did it at Gamescom because I was like, I don't want to do this again.
Man, I actually need to go find that review because even writing, I was like, I've got no frame of reference to Assassin's Creed, but you know what game journalism is like, particularly from a South African point of view. You guys are spread so thin. You don't have 10 people covering an event. It's like 2 of you, and you're just trying to tick off, get to as much as you can. But writing that preview, just going, this game, it's pretty good, man. It looks great. Can't tell you about the platforming or anything, but looks visual, look really good. Yeah, interesting setting.
I had a similar thing happen with a strategy game. I think it was Warhammer 3, one of those like really in-depth, not an RTS, it's like sort of those like 4X.
4X games, yeah.
Man, that dude had so much patience with me because it was an hour-long demo.
Oh, no.
And he was like, what's your experience with this game? And I was
–
absolutely
0.
nothing.
What's
you
your
could just see him go
0x,
like, fuck.
If I'm honest with you.
It was painful. It was. I don't even think I wrote the preview because I was like, I can't write about this.
You'll get
I
torn to shreds by
frame of
actual
reference.
fans.
Yeah. So
damn.
I remember the PR person at the time was a former South African, but she lived in the UK, and she was like, a lot of those PR people, when they're South African, they are they were super nice to us because they were just like, they'd get along with us.
Yeah.
And I remember her after the preview was like, how was that? It's pretty good, right? And I was like, yeah. It's just like, it was a new thing. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. It was definitely a 4X game.
It's like you said, we were so spread thin then. You're also kind of balancing the, relationships with PR and getting to all of the appointments because being so small and from a region like ours, you didn't want to like say no to appointments. You didn't have that sort of like clout to be like picking and choosing. You just went to appointments because otherwise you never got the big appointments, and it just sometimes just backfired on you so badly.
But that Assassin's
like
Creed
a bunch of those Konami appointments were fucking terrible at the time. Playing like Pez or some bullshit like arcade game. Oh god, they're just terrible.
But I often think of that Assassin's Creed because I was just so out of my depth. And honestly, it's Assassin's Creed. It's who hasn't played Assassin's Creed, but I'm the anomaly who just happened to land that appointment with that dude watching me like, what the fuck is going on here?
Listen, E3 was. It's weird listening to people talk about E3 because you listen to a lot of American press and they were like, man, that show got so shit and it was like so painful to cover. I'm so happy we got to do that because it was just so much fun.
I have a lot of good memories of those days. Really, really good time.
A lot of hard work, but
damn,
just the sort of like privilege to attend those shows multiple times at Gamescom. Gamescom's happening soon. It's in August.
End of
I feel
August.
like you live so close. You need to make a trip there one year.
If not this year, maybe next year. Make a plan.
Yeah, I think that'll be so cool. Just no, you'll be part of the absolute hordes of people there. But go to the merch hall again and just
oh my gosh,
reminisce. Yeah, reminisce
the good old days. As our parents would say, "Oh, in my day."
I remember us buying a shit ton of those little like Dota minifigs at the time. Oh. They were like, they were a fortune. I think they were like €30 a piece, and we bought like bunches of them.
I don't need money. It's cool. Savings? What? Who cares?
So good. I think I actually have some still on the shelf.
Oh, you do? On the wall behind you.
Yeah, I've got they're behind this monitor, but I've got like the I don't even remember those fucking character names. Death Prophet is the ghost lady.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's the little rock dude?
Oh, Tiny. You got Tiny.
Yeah, I've got him. I've got what's the devil guy? Doombringer?
Doombringer, yeah.
I'm showing off my fucking Dota knowledge. And the ice priest lady.
Crystal Maiden.
Crystal Maiden.
Damn,
that's the
unreal.
one. I've
I
got
remember
4
these
of those.
names.
You can see I spent 100 plus euros on characters I have big reverence for, you know.
What's the Frost lady's name again? Wow, she's my favorite.
Oh, it's good
Damn.
times. Cool. Moving on.
Damn, sorry.
I forgot what
that
we
is quite a
had.
detour. I'm so sorry. It was a good
Yeah,
detour there.
I forgot what we had on our run of show.
007 Last Light. I think last time we spoke about this, we'd put a bunch of time to the game, but we hadn't finished it. And over the last couple weeks,
I think it was like early days for both of us.
Only a couple hours in.
Yeah.
I think
you finished it.
I've
about to
credit
finish
to you.
it.
Like you've told me, we are you like a nose hair away from finishing it.
Probably like 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
It's the thing that I hate doing, where it's like you have to stop a game and you boot it up again. It's literally like 30 seconds and you're like, oh fuck.
But you know what? This is not a problem with games. This is just a life thing in general. Well, maybe it is a thing with the game. Some games you think I'm right at the end, and then sometimes a game will drag you on for 2 hours or an hour, and you're like, it's 1 a.m. But I've had those times where it's 1 a.m. and it could be 5 minutes, it could be an hour, and I just go, you know what? Even if it's 5 minutes, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll come back.
It happens. It happens. So yeah, I when we spoke about it last, I think you were quite hot on it. I was already a bit like, I have some reservations about it. I don't think from my side that completely went away. I actually, about halfway through, I was like, am I actually going to finish this? I'm like having an okay time, but my time is so limited now to play games. Do I want to actually just keep investing? I'm kind of glad that I did, because I think the final third or the final quarter of the game is the game at its best, when it's like when it's the least trying to be like Hitman, when it's the least you in these open areas and trying to find different paths to get to your ultimate objective. I think those moments are kind of cool, but I think the game is at its best when it's trying to be an Uncharted and it's just a cinematic, like
100%,
A to B, big explosive set pieces, and it feels really good in those sections. And I think the combat eventually came to me. It felt very stilted and awkward, and I think that's because its control scheme is weird. But when you pick it up, it's like, oh, it's great.
I'm with you. I remember the first hour of that game thinking the combat just doesn't feel tight at all.
Yeah,
and
the
then,
shooting felt weird.
And then the more I played, the more I was like, oh, it's actually fun. And I don't know what changed. Honest to God, like, is it muscle memory? I don't know. But yeah, I think by the end of the game, it was like, oh yeah, the combat's actually absolutely fun.
I think from my perspective, as soon as my mind shift went from this is not a cover shooter to this is a more like figure it out as it goes sort of shooter, it became a lot better. Like, it is very loose with how much damage they deal, enemies specifically. And the idea to me is like, stealth as much as you can. When you go loud, and you're just running around, like shooting people, tackling them, stealing their weapons, shooting people. Not as soon as you take cover, it just feels weird, and the enemies just kind of like mob you, and it doesn't feel great. So as soon as I started doing that sort of stuff, I was like, oh, this combat actually is fucking great. Like throwing a gun at someone's head, tackling them. As soon as you tackle them, you pick up their weapon, or you're sprinting away from someone and you have no weapons, and you just hit Y, and like Bond like uses his foot to kick up a weapon and he's got it. Like, the animation stuff is so good.
They're really good, yeah.
So that, when I turned my head on that, I was like, this game's actually pretty great. And I think the story is classic Bond fare, and when it finally gets going, because again, I think the beginning of the game just drags. You don't actually know who's the bad guy, what the story's doing. I think it gets there. And I think, like I said, I think the previous podcast, this is a really good first draft. It's a 7 out of 10 game to me, where a sequel could probably improve on all this little like pain points and be pretty spectacular.
Yeah. So I just realized I didn't have any footage playing. I'm like, where did I put this footage? I do have actual visuals we compare with this. So I half agree with you with the Hitman thing, because this is going to blow your mind. I've not played any of the recent Hitmans at all, like just not sniffed them, not touched them.
I think you'd quite enjoy them, to be honest.
I think I would, because I found I suppose I touched on it when we spoke about this last time, where when this game was announced, I didn't think it was dead on arrival, but I was very much with the mindset of, it's a James Bond game. It's by the Hitman people. I just don't quite see how those come together. And then when I played it, seeing like, oh, I get it. It's Hitman, but with a James Bond skin, for lack of a better description, where you've got a mission. It's not to necessarily assassinate someone. It's you've got to do this thing. But how you do that thing has so many different, well, there's a limited number of ways to do it, but there's 3 to 5 different ways to do that said thing. And I kind of understood why the studio was the right pairing with this and how they executed it. I loved it. It's the thing of, I've got to get into this area of the game. I kind of just roll with the punches. Oh, I've spoken to this person, I've done this thing, and I'm in the area. But if I were to replay the game, I know that there might be an event there or a whole different route into it. So I understand why you think maybe it's not the strongest part of the game, but I enjoyed those like sort of sandbox areas, for lack of a better description. But I agree with you when, again, it reminded me so much of Uncharted, where it is just this non-stop action-fueled, impossible in real life set piece, but just fun to play through. And they nailed that. So many parts of this game are just these action set pieces. And I think it does James Bond justice, where, I mean, there's definitely weaker movies in the franchise, but I remember growing up watching just different James Bonds. I grew up in the Pierce Brosnan era, watching older movies that popped up on SABCs, wherever they did, and just going, oh, James Bond is a dude who, very much cool dude who just gets out of the most impossible situations with his cool gadgets, and they nail that in game form. He's much younger in this game, obviously, because it's a kind of reimagining of the franchise in a modern setting, and he's a young Bond, and he's still earning the badge, whatever. But the character, they nailed it so well. And this dude, I can't remember the voice actor's name, but he owned this role. Like, absolutely
100%.
nailed the young James Bond, and just such a charismatic, likable dude who just gets shit done. So I really enjoyed it. Just thoroughly.
I think that's one high point on the game is the main cast and even some of the side casts. The acting's really good. The voice acting and the emotion capture, like that stuff's top notch, and it really delivers. And you get the Bond, like you said, he's a bit of a schmarmy, like not a great guy, but a good guy. And a lot of that is down to like subtle animations on the face and his reactions to things. And I think that sort of stuff is, they nail it here, like you said. So again, I want to see more of these. I think this is a cool game.
I'm with you in that. I think as a first game, did super well, but as a sequel, man. They just take everything you've learned, listen to all the criticisms of this game, and just polish it right up and do an even better sequel than you'll have. Yeah. So like I do think this will pop up on Game of the Year list. I have no doubts. I think enough people
for sure.
will play to be like, this is my Game of the Year. But I don't know, in terms of, and again, like awards aren't everything, but in terms of snapping up awards, I'm sure it'll get awards. I don't know if it would be the Game of the Year necessarily. With a sequel, I think that would be enough of a bump, or I'd hope just enough of a bump up of quality that it is like, this is like an absolute must play, definitive action game. We're not getting Uncharted anymore. Don't know what Naughty Dog's doing at the moment, but if you want that experience in 2026, this is a game to play. Like I've said to my brother that you don't have a PS5 at the moment, but one day you have to play this game. Like you'll love this game. It's just coded that way. It's just super fun to play through. Oops.
I think I don't think it's on the same level. I think it's a lot better, but I'm hoping there's a sort of Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2 sort of leap in quality. Because I do think that sort of jump is possible with this team, and I think the foundations they've built allow them to kind of experiment in different ways and clean things up. So I know IO Interactive has said they are going to make another one, or at least they have the license to make another one. When they do that in amongst Hitman and stuff like that, I don't know. But I would imagine, given the way this game sold and its reception, this would probably, a sequel would be on their radar already, and I'd be shocked if they're not already thinking about that. So
no, for sure.
I haven't seen the end, but I've heard that it kind of like sets up a sequel. Like there is a sort of like sequel bait to it. So
even if there wasn't, It's James Bond. You
Yeah,
you
that's
can
the
just
thing.
pick up like the movies. Just there's
They're like
this
an
thing
anthology
happening.
series.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's this thing happening.
yeah.
We need you to solve it. Whatever. I enjoyed it. I think even as far as James Bond stories goes, it's up there. Like what a
Yeah.
intriguing like just the thing of it's a modern day James Bond, how AI is part of that, how MI6 is this whole modern setting that relies on supercomputers to help him pinpoint things happening around the world. Just very clever, cool way to tell that story.
But it has fun with it as well. Like I love the Daniel Craig era of James Bond, but I know for a lot of people that's not James Bond in a sense because there's a severe lack of like cool gadgets and a bit of the cheese that is associated with the rest of the
also
era.
super serious. Daniel Craig is not a fun
incredibly
James Bond.
serious. Yeah,
Suck.
This is like I think it trades a middle ground between that and like the Brosnan era. Like you said, like you still have gadgets where you shoot a fucking missile from a pen, or have a lighter that creates smoke screen.
Yeah.
It makes no sense, but it's cool. But the story takes itself a bit more seriously, I think, than some of the older films. So, I think this is maybe where a lot of people thought the franchise would go with a Daniel Craig, and I think if you crave that sort of thing, this delivers. And I'm curious to know if because they haven't started developing the new films, they haven't even cast a new actor. If there's sort of discussion on like this is the sort of direction maybe we need to go. But also, I don't know with a director like Denis Villeneuve who does the Dune films if that's where he's going to go. But we'll see,
probably super serial.
Yeah, probably.
Bring Daniel Craig back.
Yeah, he's only like 50 years old.
Last thing I'll say about this game is shout out to IO Interactive, who I don't know who made this decision, but the level of South African people in this game,
crazy,
phenomenal. It's such a weird thing where even moving to the UK and going like when you hear a South African out in the wild, you pick it up immediately. You don't realize you have an accent until you living in a place that you don't hear it all the time. In this game, you pick up the South African people just like a mile away, and it is so great to hear. It's like, yes.
And I think it's not like overly played. It's like, oh, that sounds like a South African.
Yeah, just a couple of characters you bump into, and you're like, hey, this dude's South African, 100%.
There has to be a South African.
That's what I said to Lenska. There's definitely a member of staff there. I don't know who they are, or if there's more than one. Shout out to you guys for just saying, let's put a dude named Jonty in the game who's just who's just there to be a dude.
We just have South African sleeper cells at big studios. I bet there's one at IO. There's some at Naughty Dog. They're just there. They're there to pepper in a bit of voice VO every now and then.
Absolutely amazing. I loved it. It put such a smile on my face. But the game overall, very good. Absolutely.
No, it's good. I'm glad I came around on it, and I'm glad I stuck with it because I think it gets to a really good place.
Yeah.
And I guess if you are busy playing it and you have some reservations, I think it's worth sticking with, in my opinion. So it's a good time. What else have we got?
Do you want to talk about Rhythm?
Yeah,
Paradise?
Rhythm Paradise Groove or Rhythm Heaven Groove in other regions. I'm pretty unfamiliar with this franchise. I've always heard about it and never really engaged with it, but I know some people are like diehard fans for this thing. So when it was announced it's actually out on the original Switch and Switch 2, I was like, okay, I want to give this a go. So I don't know if you are familiar with like WarioWare, where it's like just a bunch of like mini games. This is similar. It's not in the same vein of like WarioWare is like every 5 seconds you're playing a game. It's just like a collection of mini games that are all very rhythm based. And when I say rhythm based, they are very heavily rhythm based. Like I was fucking up so much at the beginning, and I consider myself someone with a good sense of rhythm, but some of these early ones I was like, am I just bad at this? Like, am I not understanding something? So each mini game sort of has like a one button mechanic to it. The sort of footage you're seeing now, there's these frogs that hop on these lilies in a certain pattern, and you've got to press A to launch them in the air. And depending on where they start their motion, the number of like hops they take to get to you changes. And a lot of it is in sync with the music that is playing in the background. So it is a game you have to play. They actually recommend playing with headphones, and they make a very strong recommendation at the start, like, do not play with Bluetooth headphones. Like
There'll
that
be
slight delay
yeah.
will completely throw this entire game. So collection of cool mini games. I think there's some smart ones. Like sometimes it's not a case of watching something and pressing A. Sometimes a character, right at the beginning, there's a character who throws like a frisbee, and you have to learn to count to 7 pretty accurately and then press and like jump up as a dog and catch the frisbee. And it does cool things where like, cool, at the beginning, you'll almost like see the numbers play out on screen and then it will slowly fade away. So then you have to start doing it in your head. And then sometimes the camera will zoom in a certain area so you can't actually see the animations of the character. So you've got to rely on audio cues and your own counting to get these things going. Some mini games involve multiple button presses. Like there's an early one where you have to open and close an umbrella in a certain pattern and rhythm. I think they get a lot of juice out of a single idea, and a lot of these games feel very distinct. And I like at the end of each sort of like group of levels, there'll be a level at the end which combines all 4 before them, and you're hopping between a bunch in a very WarioWare style where you at one for like 5 seconds, and that is a real test of your rhythm because you're chopping and changing what you're meant to be doing very, very quickly. And so I think from that perspective, it's neat. It's again, collection of mini games. There's a sort of like story mode, which is almost like a light RPG-ish thing. It reminds me a lot of like the Street Pass RPG, where rhythm is the basis of it, but it's not. You're coming out for this massive collection of mini games and to play this on like a plane or for an hour at a time, or reminds me a lot of Tetris Effect, where I'll get to the end of a day and be like, I don't want to get started on something heavy. I just need something to play for
just
half
like
an
a
hour
quick
that just kind of like, switches my brain off a little bit. And this kind of like fits that bill. Should you go out and pay full price for it? Not sure. Like if you're super into these games, go for it, whatever. But if you're new like me, I would say just watch a bit of footage and see if this is the sort of, did you like Guitar Hero? Do you like rhythm games as a concept?
Yeah.
And see if you want to give this a go. I'm having a good time with it, but I can see why maybe not everyone is like, why is this thing so revered? You know what I mean?
But also, is it just straight up like a $60 game?
I don't know how much it costs.
Because if it's
check.
full price, I'm there with you. Where it's that debate of how long is a piece of string? How did you find the value of a game? But I have to ask, if it is $60.
It's a $40 game.
Okay, so it's like it skirts that middle ground. If it's not a full price game, it's not a cheap $10, $20 indie game.
I think that makes sense.
Maybe,
and I
that's
think
more of a
at
fair
that price, it makes it easy. Like it says here on the store page, 80 plus games, 80 plus
81
mini games.
Then.
Yeah, 81. There's also, I forgot about this. There's a demo. So
okay, so you can try the demo.
Download the demo, give it a go. I don't know how extensive the demo is, but I think if it's just the first 5 or 6 mini games, you'll have a very good idea of what the fuck this game is about and whether or not you want to play more. So it's cool that demo's out. I forgot about that. I would probably give that a go before dropping whatever it
cash
is.
Money.
Yeah, cash money.
Very nice. I'd be keen to give it a try. I think I might just add it to my wish list though. Keep an eye on it. One day.
Yeah, I mean, being a first party game, who knows if it ever goes on sale, but if it goes on sale, you can pick it up at a good bargain.
You can dream, okay.
I think it's a cool playing game. I can see myself playing this on a flight to Cape Town or something like that. It will probably melt away an hour with ease. So and great because I'm going to wear headphones anyway,
Yeah. Not Bluetooth earphones.
No. Yeah, fuck that.
Damn.
Yeah, I can't even imagine if I'm so bad at it now. I can't, like, a few millisecond delay would completely ruin
You could have
game.
saved yourself. They'd be like, I was terrible at this game. And I realized I was wearing Bluetooth earphones.
Bluetooth headphones,
it's
yeah.
Like, actually, I was
it
so
does
bad
a
at
thing
this
at the
game,
start where it's like, oh, if you're playing on a TV, we need to do, like, a test to see the inherent lag of your TV. Yeah, Guitar Hero did the same thing. So it's, again, that sort of game. It's that...
level of
that's
precision.
the sort of thing of precision that they want from you. So you need to be honest with yourself if that's a game that you actually enjoy.
Do I have rhythm or am I terrible at rhythm?
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Damn.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
It made me want to play WarioWare as well, because WarioWare is just fucking stupid and great. So
Have you never played a WarioWare, like out of interest?
no, I have.
Okay.
I've played some of the older ones. I never played the one that came out on Switch. Was it WarioWare Gold or something like that?
I didn't play the Switch one.
Um,
I remember having one on the DS a lifetime ago.
I played on DS.
And
I played it.
man, so good. Just absolute nonsense, but in the best way possible.
There's been 2 WarioWares on Switch. Move It
Oh.
and Get It Together. Did not know that.
Damn. Well, there you go. Rhythm, Paradise, Groove. It's a good time if you have rhythm. If you don't.
If you have rhythm. If you don't, get fucked. Yeah.
Oh my God. Don't do that. Yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about before we bounce to what I have been playing in the last?
I think that's it on my side, to be honest. So
Damn. So
go for it.
last game I've been playing, you spoke about it. I think you spoke about it very briefly last time we recorded as well. Was just Mina the Hollower, the new game from the studio that brought you Shovel Knight and is it Yacht Club games? Shovel
That's
Knight.
correct, yeah.
So that whole franchise of games,
The
very
10
good.
billion Shovel Knight games
Just
that came
so
out
many
after
Shovel
that
Knights,
as well.
I've only played the original Shovel Knight. Absolutely loved it.
So good.
I think Yacht Club games, what makes them stand out from other indie studios is that, I mean, it's not unique to them, but what they do very well is that they sort of frame all of the games as something that if you were to go into a time machine, or if you were to play this game in the 80s or 90s on an NES, it would fit. It's got that aesthetic. It's like this old 8-bit look. It sounds that way. It's just completely designed that way. But you're playing it in 2026, so there's a lot of modern stuff happening. Mina the Hollower is, for lack of a better description, it reminds me a lot of, it's not at all the same kind of game. It's kind of overlap, but it reminds me so much of Hollow Knight in terms of how the game kind of gives you very little in terms of context, and it just leaves you to go explore and discover through very difficult, challenging combat, so many secrets to be seen or not seen, and just rewarding gameplay. Super challenging, but incredibly rewarding when you figure out how to beat a boss or how to get through a certain area. Lots of death.
So much death.
So much death. This game, I was saying to you before we started recording, I can't put my finger on if this game is harder than Silksong. But I think what it actually comes down to is more mechanically, it just because it's meant to be like an 8-bit game, mechanically it's very challenging in that, for example, there's no omnidirectional combat. You can attack up, down, left, right, that's it. But there's also
it's not a side scroller like Hollow Knight. It's more a Zelda Link to the Past, like top down perspective.
Yeah, but there's also there's like a whole level of nuance in that. You explaining it last time and I get it now, where it's top down but you can jump in the game. And
the verticality fucks me up a little bit.
There's verticality, and they've done it incredibly well. Like in terms of design, I take my hats off to this team because they've designed in a way that there's verticality, and it's kind of weird to get your head around it. But when you see how levels fit together and how they've been designed, it's very, very good how they've designed it. But
also, just imagine how many secrets they can hide.
Oh my gosh,
that sort of
many
perspective
secrets.
shifting. Yeah.
But I think what's also cool is that they've taken a lot of inspiration from these games of yesteryear and modern games, but they've added their own spin on certain things. So Mina the Hollower, Mina is a thing called a Hollower, and the thing is you can jump in the game, but you can also burrow underground for short periods of time, like a second or two, and when you come out of the ground you do an extended jump, and that is a mechanic. It's just such a clever little twist of how you can use that in combat, for example, to evade enemies. You burrow under them to get away from danger, or in terms of platforming, how you have to think of, that platform's too far, but if I burrow and I leap out, I can get across, and how you link move sets together to overcome platforming parts of the game, of which there are some really good ones as well. But there's
isn't the burrowing omnidirectional?
The burrowing, I think, is omnidirectional.
Yeah, that's
the
where
jumping
it becomes
as
super
well.
interesting.
The jumping as well. It's like there are certain platforming parts where it's like you have to jump diagonally to make it work, or to course correct
Mm.
yourself if you're a bit skew, whatever. So yeah, it's a bit loosey goosey with that, but it's all intentional. I mean, I can't imagine, you know, how limited their creativity would be if it was just 4-directional jumping. But there's also some interesting twists with ideas in terms of, same thing. I just use Hollow Knight as a example that comes to mind, where, you know, Hollow Knight is a thing of, if to heal you have to attack the enemy and fill up your, I can't remember what the gauge is called, but you build, when you do damage to enemies, you fill up that gauge, and you to heal you take time to, you know, to activate your heal, whatever. This game has that, where it's this weird blend of, if you say, for example, you got your health bar, if you're on half health, if you do damage to enemies, you'll see your health bar fill up, but it's like potential health you can get if you choose to heal at that point in time.
Yes.
So you could be on super low health and do a few quick attacks to an enemy and be like, okay, if I take my health potion now, I only heal half health. So it's this thing of risk versus reward of like, oh, but I want to heal fully. Maybe if I hold off and I get a few more attacks in. But then there's also,
but isn't it if you take damage, that thing just goes away?
That thing disappears, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's a very clever twist on, it's not like a Hollow Knight, a fixed thing of, oh, if you've got enough meter, you just heal, you'll get 3 health bar, 3 little pips of health.
It reminds me of like a reverse Bloodborne.
100%. With Bloodborne, it's that's the thoughts I had as well, because even your health vials, you got a limited amount. So it's like you need to kind of balance, well, when do I heal? Do I risk healing to half health now, but I've only got like 1 one vial of health left? Do I go to the next screen and risk attacking other enemies to get full health? So just clever little twists like that they've taken these existing mechanics that we know and just twisted it in a different way to fit this game. And it's just been such a joy to play. Like, again, super challenging. I'm about 8 to 10 hours in now, and I've died so much in this game. But it's been a joy figuring out where to go and just exploring, because even on that front, it's not really like a Metroidvania in the traditional sense. Like, I don't know if I'm going to get different abilities or like a double jump or whatever, but you pretty much, you're not told where to go in this game. You just start, you pick a direction, and you can kind of explore the map however the hell you want. And you'll maybe get hints from characters like, oh yeah, you should go do that thing, but it's not explicit at all. And it's just been fun just running around, exploring, getting lost in these areas and going, do I turn back to go to town now and maybe spend some currency on buying extra health, or do I just
bones?
Bones, or do I just keep hitting my head against this wall till I break it and I beat this boss, whatever. And it's been absolutely fun to play.
I think there's so much to pick apart in that world, and I think that's where it's like you have to almost commit to this game, because even now I've taken like an extended time away from it, and I don't know, I'm gonna have to reteach myself how to play. So yeah, I'm keen to get back to it, because I do think it's like a Silk Song, it is just this world to explore, but also kind of tough as nails. And it's kind of interesting that we got 2 of these games 2 years in a row. But they play like incredibly differently.
They're completely different,
yeah. But I think if Silk Song scratched the itch of, I want to see what's around that corner, and oh my god, this thing interconnects in this way, and like Mina the Hollower is a similar thing. And anecdotally, I've heard that the world reacts in a similar way, where it's like, if you wait too long to do this thing, you won't be able to do this other thing. Or,
I know.
Yeah, it's a very reactive world. There was one, I think I spoke about this the one time. There's a train in the main city, or eventually there is a train to like travel between certain areas, but you have to buy tickets to use the train. And I was speaking to Steve Watts, who reviewed the game at GameSpot, and he was playing it ahead of time. And I was like, is it good? Is it this and that? And he's like, very hard game to talk about without spoiling a bunch of things. But here's this anecdote about this train where I bought a ticket, and then I stood in front of the train, and then he's got kids, and he's like, oh, my kid called me, and I went to like deal with the thing for like 5 to 10 minutes, and I came back and the train was gone.
I know.
And I was like, oh, the train doesn't just wait around for you to punch that, and then the ticket was invalid.
I know.
So it's like the train runs on a schedule, and if you miss that schedule, like the world does shit like that, and
Amazing.
it's like, okay, well, if it does that, what else is it doing that I'm unaware of?
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. Like, I want to discover stuff like that.
Yeah, I suppose maybe like I don't know what this means, but a lot of characters in town or throughout the game ask for a bone donation of, oh, please help, I need 100 bones. And I've paid it once or twice, and they usually give you, they'll say a line of dialogue, which might mean nothing or it might be a hint towards something. But I have wondered if it's one of those From Software things where, oh, if you pay enough people, if you interact with this person here, maybe you'll see them elsewhere. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's at that level of like, what if, maybe, am I overanalyzing it? This is a sort of game where it could happen. I don't know. It's like that mystery.
Yeah,
is just so
like that
intriguing.
Bloodborne thing of, oh, I helped this person in this window and I did it before I fought this boss, so now they appear in my hub. Or
I didn't help this person and these two little girls have now died as a result of my action. Like,
yes, yeah.
What's going on?
It's cool. It's really, and again, when you're playing it for the first time, you'll have no idea that maybe some of the things that are happening are consequences of certain actions, but that's part of the magic of these sorts of games. So I'm hoping that's how it plays out, but based on what you've said and the limited time I've had with it, I do think that's exactly what they're doing.
Stuff like that's happening,
yeah.
We'll see. But I'm invested in this game. Gonna definitely keep playing until I hit credits.
It's a long one. It's apparently like a 30-40 hour.
Yeah, as long as I have it in me to keep fighting the bosses, which I do.
Yeah, they're hard. I mean, for you to admit that, like, wow, this is challenging,
but
I think just shows.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's definitely challenging, but it's still the thing of mechanically it's harder because just coming to grips with that sort of style of game, it's just different. It's retro by design and it's meant to be tough as nails. But all the bosses that I fought are completely fair. It's a thing of you just do it enough times, you learn what they do, you figure it out. And there've been some really, the one I fought in particular, I was just like, what a imaginative, just different. It's not just a big health boss, not just a big monster you have to attack. Like, there was a bit of strategy involved in how to fight this boss, which is just very cool from a game that's meant to be, believably something that could have existed in the 80s or 90s on the NES. It's just very clever, cool design. So yeah, I'm enjoying
and I think another example of, in my opinion, combat systems don't need to be about all the different combos you can do and all the different options available to you. Sometimes it's just like, Silksong there's one attack and one special attack. That's it. And Mina, I think, adopts that same thing where it's like the depth is in enemies, not in the different ways you can deal damage, which I really like.
Yeah, 100%. It is there's a couple weapons to start the game with, and for example, I started with daggers, and their thing is you can just attack faster. You can just spam attack, whatever. I know there's a hammer where if you hold attack, it'll do like a charge attack. But it's just that. And you get sidearms. And well, they call them sidearms, but I think it's kind of more like gadgets where there are things you can use that cost, it's not mana, it's like joules, because it's a game. It's got a whole theme of electricity and technology, whatever. And that's the extent of the combat. It's not to say it's not super late, but it's that simple to wrap your head around. But there's so much depth in that game, even though the combat.
I think this is again why, like, my favorite FromSoft games are Bloodborne and Sekiro, where they strip away a lot of the RPG elements. It's not like here are like hundreds of different weapon combinations and builds. Like, there is that element, but it is more just like get good with one weapon. And just learn.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's a good time. I'm really enjoying it. So hats off to that team, doing some good stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad that they were very candid before Mina came out, because they'd been working on it for so long that this is sort of like a make or break for the studio, because they've invested so much time into it. If this thing does not sell, they are not sure if they have a future. But I think out of the gates, they were like, oh, it needs to sell like 500,000 for it to be considered a success for them to continue deving, and that happened in like the first day. I think Yacht Club is going to be around for quite some time, and the industry is better for it because they are top notch. They just make good games. Yeah,
I would never want to rob them of their specialty, which clearly is this aesthetic and these, old school inspired games. But I'd be fascinated to see them do a completely different visual style or kind of game. That they don't have to, but it would be interesting to see like how else they could flex.
Because they seemingly can. Like Shovel Knight and Mina aesthetically harken back to an age, but they could not be different in other ways. Sure. Like they are completely different games. Yeah. So just shows again like the depth of that studio to make these two homages, but expand on them in really interesting ways, and for them to just be good. So
I wonder,
it's a good time.
Where Shovel Knight, I think, clearly took a lot of inspiration from Mega Man. I wonder if
Mega Man and older Castlevanias.
Yeah, but I wonder if Mina clearly takes inspiration from modern games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, whatever. But I wonder if there are any older games they look to in terms of how did they pull this off? How did they design this? Yeah, so you're right. Sorry, Zelda is one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think Zelda in terms of viewpoint and the idea of like pseudo dungeons, like you are going to dungeons and doing stuff. But like Zelda, like Link to the Past is not this challenging, like nowhere near it.
No.
But I think that's the sort of aesthetic they're trying to mimic. Yeah.
You are
cool.
Cool. That's it.
I think that's pretty much it from your side. Bit of a longer one from us, but it has been some time. So we don't really do much of the emails and the question stuff, but no one has left like a ghost comment on a video that we haven't gotten to.
I hope not.
Not that I've seen, at least. But if you have, or if you still want to email us, you can checkpointchat@podcast.com.
Yeah.
Let us know what you're playing. It would be cool to respond to emails again. I think we haven't done that in quite some time, but if you do want to leave a message, go for it. I think that's going to do it for episode 289 of Checkpoint Chat. As always, we'll be back in a couple of weeks, hopefully with a bunch of new stuff that we've played. The sort of release schedule is easing up now until the absolute bombardment that is September. It is just banger after banger that month. So maybe we'll keep a bunch of episodes for then.
There's a few bits and pieces. I know there's like Halo Combat Evolved is coming out sometime this month.
Ooh, yeah, I want to play that.
I played the first Halo many years ago. It's actually like the one Halo I did play. So
it's a great one. Yeah. That's out. I think that's out like next week or the week after.
I think early access is next week, if I'm not mistaken.
The one that I forgot about up until now, coming out in August, is Metal Gear Solid Volume 2 with Metal Gear Solid 4. It's finally out of jail. I
can finally play that game.
Cannot wait to play. You've never played it, eh?
No, Metal Gear Solid 4.
What a fucking game.
Never played it.
That game is peak bullshit.
Oh,
it is
man.
Just ridiculous.
Don't chase me at a good time.
1.5 hour cutscenes. Fucking seat yourself for those things. They are absolute nonsense. It's so good.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I can't wait.
I can't wait for you to... I know exactly the sorts of moments you're going to be like, this is so dumb, and I can't wait for you to get to them. It's peak. It's
too
so
good.
Great.
Yeah, I'm keen for that.
Cool. That's been episode 289. Hope you're staying safe. Hope you're staying warm in winter in South Africa, and I guess hope you have aircon in the UK.
Yeah.
Good luck,
man.
We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much for listening. Stay safe. See you next time. Okay, bye.